Hello viewers, hope you are all well. Today we are going to start second terminal exam syllabus, History, Crafts and Industry, lesson number 6. Crafts and Industries. Industries, I hope you all know, things or products which we do not make through our hand. It is made out of machines, whereas crafts, any product which is made through our hands, that can be known as crafts. So let's begin. Before the establishment of the British rule, that means before the coming of the British and before the establishment of the British rule, India has been described as the industrial workshop of the world. In Hindi, it is written on your book as Karkhanas. Or you can see cottage industries, development of cottage industries in India. That means in every home they were making something. Now, after the establishment of the British rule, we could see some decline of our own Indian industry which were developed before the coming of the British. Let's see the number one point. What is the reason behind the declination of the Indian industry? First one is the impact of the Industrial Revolution. Industrial Revolution means making of a product in a machine, and through this product, when these products were made, these products were sold into India. You may know Industrial Revolution was started somewhere in Europe, and then it was expanded towards all over Europe, and then slowly industrial products reached India. When industrial products reached India, those products which were made through machines, they were coming cheaper than the Indian handmade products, though they were not equal in terms of quality. Next is the loss of royal patronage. Before the coming of the British, kings and queens used to wear those dresses made out of hand. Later, after the coming of the British rule, Britishers pressurized the royal patronage to buy machine-made goods. And even the kings and queens were now no longer richer after the establishment of the British rule. Next, the third point, loss of external markets. As you may know, before the coming of the British and before the establishment of the British rule, Indians exports goods towards other countries. But now, after the establishment of the British rule, we could see that import was increased whereas export decreased, due to which external markets declined. External markets here means out of India. Markets where Indian goods were sold outside India. Coercive tactics, next point, used by the British. Coercive tactics used by the British means here that when Indian farmers used to cultivate food for their family, Britishers pressurized the farmers not to do that. So what they will do, they were told to cultivate cotton. Once they started cultivating cotton, whatever the products, cotton balls, were produced through cotton cultivation, those cotton balls or the raw material were taken at a very cheap rates, through which we could see the conditions of the farmers are also become bad. Next point here within coercive tactics were that the weavers, whosoever weave cloth through their hand, they must register within the Britishers, or else there will be some kind of different punishments. Then comes the last, indifference of the British rulers. Indifference of the British ruler here shows differentiation between Indian people and the British people, or Indian citizen and the British citizen. When during Industrial Revolution, all the weavers or all the cottage industry of British or in Britain, the people those who were work within the cottage industries, they become unemployed, and those who were unemployed because of the Industrial Revolution there, they were accepted in the factories or in the industries which were made during the Industrial Revolution. But in India, it is just the reverse. What happened in India? In India, the British rulers were not interested to give Indians employment in the factories. And even we could see Britishers were not interested in increasing the industries in India. Now let's see the revenue into Britain. Revenue into Britain here shows us that 61 million rupees were being diverted from India to Britain in 1859. It happens because the taxes were collected from the land, from the market, and in other terms, this amount increased a lot after some years. In 1890, we could see that 851 million rupees of taxes were collected from India and it was transported to Britain. It increased in the coming times. That means after 1890 it increased a lot more. We could also see that in 1879 manufactured goods made up only 8% of Indian exports. That means the exports were also declining. I told you earlier that before the establishment of the British rule, India exports goods to the world market, whereas after the establishment of the British rule, India imports. India become importer. Before they were known as, India were known as exporter.